In this video, we will go into details about the structure of fatty acid chains that make up the triglycerides in our diet. A triglyceride is composed of a glycerol backbone with 3 fatty acids attached. When looking at the fatty acid chains, there are 3 ways to tell the difference between the fatty acids. The first difference is in the chain length, which refers to the number of carbons in the chain. It is not important to know the specific numbers, just that there is a difference in chain length. Some are short chain, some medium, and some long chained. The second way we tell the difference between the fatty acids is the degree of saturation. Saturated fatty acids are completely hydrogenated, which means the hydrogens bond with each electron in the outer shell of the carbon. They are the most stable type of fat, meaning it is not likely to be altered by other compounds. While saturated fat is very shelf stable, it is well known for being one of the unhealthy types of fats. Saturated fat is associated with increased LDL carrying cholesterol and risk of heart disease and stroke. I mentioned that it is the degree of saturation that it differentiates the fatty acids, which implies their varying levels of saturation. Some fatty acids contain missing hydrogens at a point of unsaturation, resulting in a double bond forming between the carbons. This is to pair off the electrons in the outer shell of the carbon. There are 2 missing hydrogens at every point of unsaturation. These points are not as stable, which means they can be more easily altered, especially by oxygen. An unsaturated fatty acid can have 1 or more points of unsaturation. If there is only 1 point of unsaturation, the fatty acid is called monounsaturated fat. 2 or more points of unsaturation on a fatty acid are called polyunsaturated fatty acids. Even though the points of unsaturation are not as stable, the unsaturated fats are well known as the healthiest types of fat. These fats offer many health benefits, including lower risk of heart disease, hypertension, and strokes. The third difference in fatty acids is the position of the double bonds. Polyunsaturated fats are characterized by where the first double bond is located from the omega carbon end. The carbon on the methyl end is called the omega, whereas the carbon on the carboxyl end is alpha. In this picture, we see the first double bond is the 6th carbon from the omega end. It would be an omega-6 fatty acid. Polyunsaturated fats fall into one of 2 main categories, omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids. You may recognize the name EPA and DHA. There are many great functions that we will learn about these 2 categories. So we said that triglyceride is made up of a glycerol backbone and 3 fatty acids. The triglyceride is mixed. It has fatty acids of different chain lengths. It also has fatty acids with different degrees of saturation. This picture demonstrates how a triglyceride contains mixtures of fatty acids containing various levels of saturation. So a triglyceride will not have all saturated or all unsaturated. It has a variety. That should make sense because 95% of the fat we eat is triglyceride, and we know that foods are not all saturated or all unsaturated. This graph demonstrates in foods what we just talked about, with triglycerides containing a mixture of saturation of the fatty acids. No food has all saturated or all unsaturated. However, foods do tend to have more of one type. For instance, the top table shows foods that contain mostly saturated, designated by red. The middle table has foods that are mostly monounsaturated fat, designated by blue. And the bottom table has mostly polyunsaturated fats, designated by green and yellow. This graph brings about a lot of conversations because the media has given us mixed messages that don't always agree with the science. The first has to do with olive oil being the superior oil. All unsaturated fats in the bottom 2 tables are considered healthy for you, and fairly equally healthy. The only thing I would enunciate is the ones with more omega-3 fatty acids, because Americans don't consume enough of those in their diet. The other controversy has to do with coconut oil, which is a broader conversation involving research that does not support the media claims.